Today, I'd like to talk about Mulan. I've never met a single person who didn't like this movie, and it was such a great, fantastic movie, still is to this day. It's such a great outlet for feminism. It's a great story in general, and rewatching it, I've thought about some things. When Disney made this movie, they were really going into unfamiliar territory. Well, not really, but I'll explain. This was a fairy tale we'd never heard of before. And it's not really a fairy tale at all. I mean, the only magic we have is Mushu and the ghosts, and they don't really play that much of a huge impact on the story. Mulan does a lot of stuff on her own. So, up until that time, Disney was mostly known, and probably still is known for princesses and magic, and this was kind of out there. Even The Lion King still had traces of, like, Hamlet, which is still a well-known story. But this was a story no one had ever heard of before. This was completely new to a Western audience. And it worked spectacularly. People loved it. People love it to this day. Mulan is a huge marketed character and still very popular. Yet, since then, Disney hasn't tried that kind of formula again, where they go to another country and take their famous story, their famous history, their famous myths or legends, and try to bring it back over here to see how well it does. And Mulan proved that could do really well. But, of course, this isn't to say that there weren't some problems. Mostly with how Disney handles Mulan nowadays. With the whole princess makeover thing, I already talked about that, but when you see Mulan in toys or in books, it's mostly a lot of glittery, dressy kind of stuff. And while Mulan, I don't want to say she's a tomboy, because she went into the army to save her father, not because she felt like she was a man. But it just still doesn't seem very close to her personality. And I don't know, it just kind of seems weird to me to make her all pretty and fancy and give her these little toys and a horse. Like she even gets a weird little pretty horse in some of the toys, which looks nothing like her horse in the actual movie. So yeah, I don't really like what Disney does to her sometimes, but they do play well other times because they will have her dress up as Ping in the parks, which is hilarious if you get a chance, because she will like overcompensate so much. It's pretty fun to see. To get back on the positive side, with her and Shang, if I remember his name right, if not, I apologize. This had potential to show kind of like attraction towards a male character from another male character. It was subtle and it worked, and even though ultimately it resulted in a male-female happy ending, it was still interesting territory to go on to. There was a sequel. Don't watch it, for the love of God, it's just terrible from start to finish. It's really just an excuse to wedge in more romance that's unnecessary. Now, I love a good romance. I love when it's played well, but I don't love it when it's forced in your face and makes characters go out of character. That's mostly the problem with a lot of the sequels, because they try to force in a romance. They think no one will be happy if they don't have a married partner. And that's not true. Really. Another kind of uncomfortable thing with Mulan was that they didn't use a lot of Chinese actors for the Chinese characters, which just seems, kind of silly. When you're having a Chinese movie, you should have Chinese people play them. But hopefully Disney's learned its lessons since then. I don't like whitewashing, despite being, what? It's hard to think of a lot of too much criticism for this movie, because like I said, it was still a great progressive movie with feminism and multiculturalism and just being a fantastic film overall. It's a lot of fun. The songs are still memorable to this day. The story is still fantastic. And it's not really about the magic. It's not really about the love interest. It's mostly about, feminism and a woman rising to the ranks based on her own skills. And that's fantastic, and I really hope we see more of that again. And again, Disney really needs to try and look beyond America, beyond the European tales, to tales that aren't just white centered, because you can really find a huge treasure trove of amazing adventures and stories. And I really love this movie, as you can tell. And I hope in future marketing that Disney kind of tones it down with, I don't know, I don't want to say girlifying, but out of character. I really hope they try to stay more to her character if they're going to use her in more marketing stuff. Because as it is, she still has this kind of makeup, dressy thing going on. And that's not Mulan. That's not the Mulan we know. We love her because she went out, she dressed as a boy, she kicked everyone's asses. That's why we love her. We don't love her because she's all pretty and has her hair up and all that kind of stuff. I suppose this is like very close to my Princess Makeover movies when it's just not fitting of the character. They're not realizing why we love these characters. We don't. If we just love them for their beauty, that would be incredibly shallow, and kind of missing the point of a lot of these movies. Mulan isn't about beauty. It's about strength and the force of feminism. And I think that's what we need now more than ever. Because there are so many annoying men's rights activists. We have lots of people crushing down on women, even to this day in this modern age. It's still happening. So we need more stories of women's progression, of women showing what they can do. So Mulan really should be an example of that. If anyone wants to do that again in the future, they should look to Mulan as an example. Well, I'm rambling again, so I guess I should cut it off before I say too much. So, in summary, Mulan's fantastic. We need more stories like Mulan from around the world. We need more female-centric powerhouses like Mulan. We need less of the girly marketing kind of thing. And also, Mushu's hilarious. End of story.